welcome to the School of Love, the place where miracles are normal. Hello and welcome to the School of Love, the place where we learn practical skills based on scientific research towards improving ourselves, living life to its fullest, and contributing to the best of our abilities to the world around us. I'm Dr. Grajdian, and I'm a professor of media studies and anthropology at Hiroshima University. In today's video, I'll talk about the performance Napoleon, staged by Takarazuka Revue in 2014 via its star troupe, with music composed by the French composer of Serbian ancestry, Gerard Prescovitch. Napoleon is one of the most significant performances in Takarazuka Revue's history, as it signals the paradigm shift from displaying a masculinity of self-sufficiency by means of its otokoyaku, namely its female impersonators of male roles, towards a masculinity of warmth, compassion, and emotional self-awareness. From the very beginning, I must emphasize the fact that this channel is not part of my educational and research activities at Hiroshima University. It is nonetheless part of my privilege, joy, and sense of duty to propagate and implement knowledge, information, as well as motivation and inspiration outside the limited framework of academic endeavors. Together, we can build up a better tomorrow for as many of us as possible. If you are new to this channel, at this moment I would like to ask you to please consider subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. Thank you very, very much. This helps us not only with the mysterious algorithm which seems to dominate the YouTube galaxy, but also with contributing to the expansion of the community of humans doing their best to impact positively the world and those around them, by discovering their authentic selves and living life wholeheartedly. Thanks again. With that being said, let's dive right in today's topic, which is, as I said, Napoleon, the performance Napoleon, the man who never sleeps. The goal of this video is to provide insights into the dynamics of the performance Napoleon, the Man Who Never Sleeps, staged in 2014 by Takarazuka Revue's star troupe, which delivers a series of revolutionary characteristics, announcing most probably structural changes within Takarazuka Revue as a cultural conglomerate. Apart from being advertised as a celebratory performance during the centennial anniversary, this performance exhibits several characteristics, which are explained in greater detail later on. The most striking being the non-Japanese composer, French of non-French lineage, Serbian ancestry, Gerard Prescovitch, the lack of Japanization in the tackling of the topic, and its main, male as well female characters. I argue that in introducing non-Japanese narrative lines without Japanizing them to the predominantly Japanese, predominantly female audiences, Takarazuka Revue sets the tone for a more authentic tackling of non-Japanese issues, therefore opening the door for a constructive, possibly proactive learning process. Today's video is structured in two main parts. The one including a general description of Takarazuka Revue, and the second one including commentary on Napoleon. And at the end, I invite you to share your ideas and your thoughts in the comments. So, based on ethnographic analysis and hermeneutic interpretation, this video strives for a cross-cultural embedding of the masculinity narrative within the broader context of ongoing quests for values and orientation, mercilessly questioned by globalization on the background of the perennial need of the human being for belonging, acceptance, and appreciation. In the train of thought, it is important to note that the display of affections interrelated to exuberant masculinity, as imagined by the two main characters and their embodiment by otokoyaku, so female impersonators of male roles in Takarazuka Revue, plays a fundamental role in proposing a new type of masculine idea, challenging what has been too often recently labeled as toxic masculinity, and contemplating a self-reflexive construction of one's own identity at the crossroads of individual pursuits and social expectations. Within Japan's highly corporative and unpredictably volatile entertainment industry, Takarazuka Revue has established itself throughout the decades as an important reference system, with equally stable ideological and aesthetic standards, and serving simultaneously as a dynamic example of the power of hard work, insight, and persistence, compounded by kindness and a sense of responsibility hardly ever taken into account when it comes to cultural products as a means to implement and transmit a specific set of values across generations. Founded in 1912, with the first performance taking place in 1914 by Kobayashi Ichizo, Takarazuka Revue has started as a small theatrical arrangement, set up to attract more customers in the relatively isolated city of Takarazuka, with its hot springs, in Japanese onsen, and its fresh air, provided by the surrounding forests on the majestic mountains. So a couple of words about Kobayashi Ichizo. Kobayashi Ichizo, who lived between 1873 and 1957, is a Japanese industrialist and politician, and was one of the most influential, prominent, and progressive entrepreneurs and businessmen in pre-war Japan, that is until 1945. He is best known as the founder of the Hankyu Railways Company in 1907, with its main terminal at Umeda Station in Osaka, and for his successful development of the railway infrastructure in an adverse region in the northern part of Kansai, that is Western Japan, through the implementation of residential areas along the railway lines, an amusement park, a department store at the railway terminal, as well as, in time, the main attraction, the Takarazuka Grand Theatre in the city of Takarazuka. Within few years, Takarazuka Shoukatai, or in English Takarazuka Choir, turned into Takarazuka Shoujo Kageki Yoseikai, in English translation, Takarazuka Company for the Training of Girls Revue, and became increasingly popular, so that even an own 2-year training institution, Takarazuka Music School, or in Japanese Takarazuka Ongaku Gakko, was founded in 1990. In 1940, Takarazuka Shoujo Kageki Yoseikai changed its denomination into the current Takarazuka Revue Company, or Takarazuka Kageki Dan, with 2 massive theaters with over 3,000 seats in the major metropolitan areas of Eastern and Western Japan, Takarazuka in Osaka, respectively Tokyo, built in 1924 and 1934, and 5 ensembles spanning 10 performances weekly during the whole year, encompassing a huge variety of topics and manners of tackling those topics. Takarazuka Revue Company has come to be recognized both as a mirror of Japan's tumultuous 20th century and as an important source of inspiration, as it reputedly facilitates, or essentially mediates, the import of non-Japanese, mostly Western culture assets to Japan and to its Japanese audiences. So Takarazuka Revue, so founded in 1914, is a Japanese popular all-female musical theater. Typical representative of Japan's modernity, characterized by hybridity, so a concatenation or a juxtaposition of Japanese spirit, roots, Japanese identity, and Western technology or knowledge, which manifests this identity into reality. The unusually strong dialectics of the relationship between Takarazuka Revue administrators and its mostly fan-based audiences has led, in recent times, to more profound analytical approaches of a business model relying on deep fandom. That is, those faithful fans who support a specific phenomenon throughout the years instead of dissipating their money, time, and emotions on a variety of entertainment tools, which might be labeled as a face fandom. There are, of course, clear disadvantages to this business orientation, but its most obvious advantage is the profile clarity of the cultural institution beneath deep fandom, which emerges as a strong identification model and existential paradigm, while challenging prevailing standards of fan service in Japan. At the center of the social cultural phenomenon embodied by Takarazuka Revue stands otokoyaku, aka, so namely female impersonators of male roles, a highly ambivalent construction combining Western physical allures with the Japanese inner qualities and exemplifying once again the powerfully famous hybrid identity painstakingly epitomized in the slogan Wakun Yosei, the basis and crux of Japanese modernity. As mentioned before, Wakun Yosei is translated as Japanese spirit, roots, and Western technology or knowledge, and what was initiated in 1868 with the so-called Meiji Restoration. In tandem with Otokoyaku's representation of masculinity on Takarazuka Revue stage and public advertisement, Musumeyaku, literally daughter role, with the subliminal image of maiden, refers to female impersonators of female roles in Takarazuka Revue. Both Otokoyaku and Musumeyaku are subsumed to the category of actress, while their official denomination within the Takarazuka Revue company and its related contexts is Seito, namely pupil, or Takarazuka, introduced by the director Shirai Tetsuzo, who compared the cute Takarazuka Revue actresses with the beautiful Parisienne at Moulin Rouge in Paris. Within the extremely strict hierarchy of Takarazuka Revue's educational and performance system, the concept golden combination refers to the Otokoyaku-Musumeyaku pair, in Takarazuka Revue jargon, top stars, at the top of every of the 5 actively performing ensembles. It is important to mention that while the acting staff is exclusively female, the administrative staff is to a great extent male, and was exclusively male from Takarazuka Revue's inception until 1999. This clear-cut separation of functions has been playing a fundamental role in Takarazuka Revue's evolution and its preoccupation with staging evolving patterns of social cultural delineation and belonging, as well as its dialectically pragmatic adaptation to the expectations of audiences while subtly influencing their tastes, preferences, life choices. As to be shown later on, in centering upon Otokoyaku's construction of masculinity and her dramaturgic versatility of reformulating both historical figures and regular citizens, Takarazuka Revue displays Japan's global ramifications long before the awareness of international impact had entered the Japanese mind, with the simultaneous dissolution of past referential systems. The 5 troupes are Flower Troupe, which was founded in 1921. It is one of the 2 oldest troupes and stages strong, impactful performances with huge budget. The second troupe is Moon Troupe, which likewise was founded in 1921 and has the primary goal to highlight teamwork within the performance practice. The third troupe is Snow Troupe, or Yukigumi, which was founded in 1924, has a highly conservative reputation and is popular for performances with Japanese contents. The fourth troupe is Star Troupe, or Hoshigumi, which functioned between 1933 and 1939, and then again from 1946, and is known for delivering high-quality, charismatic Otokoyaku figures. The fifth and youngest troupe is Cosmos Troupe, or Soragumi, which was founded in 1998. It is the youngest troupe, has a progressive topics and stage design, as well as performance strategies, and usually serves as a sort of staging pilot projects to test the audience's limits in shifting performance strategies. Napoleon, the Man Who Never Sleeps, Beyond Love and Glory, was staged in January and the beginning of February at Takarazuka Grand Theatre in the city of Takarazuka, and then from mid-February until the end of March 2014 at Tokyo Takarazuka Theatre in Tokyo. So director is Koike Shuichiro, one of the most impactful directors and producers in recent decades, I would say, in Takarazuka, in the case of Takarazuka Revue Company, and the composer was Gerard Prescovitch. And the 2 main roles were, so Napoleon Bonaparte and respectively his wife Josephine, were enacted by Yuzuki Reon and Yumesaki Nere. In the following minutes, I'll talk about 8 dimensions of what the portraitization of Napoleon Bonaparte on Takarazuka Revue stage represents, and how to understand what potential symbolical significances might be subtracted from this performance. So first of all, I have to talk about Napoleon Bonaparte as a historical figure. He lived between 1769 and 1822 and was a French statesman and military leader, one of the most important and controversial historical figures of modernity, drawing back to general leaders of universal history such as Caesar, Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, etc. Secondly, I refer to the relationship between Takarazuka Revue and Napoleon. Within a typical Parimono performance, that is a performance which places its plot either in Paris, so the capital of France, or around Paris. So within a typical Parimono performance, Napoleon appears originally as the impactful and impressive masculine ideal, fulfilling the three major functions of a classical alpha male, the so-called 3P, provide, protect, procreate. But he is desperately lonely under the pressure to perform continuously. Napoleon as a character in Takarazuka Revue's representation delivers the impetus to rethink masculinity and its function in late modernity, which has already proven to be an era of questioning all values and patterns of life without offering alternative solutions to the traditionally transmitted ones. In representing Napoleon on stage as a highly split person with inner insolvable conflicts, the Takarazuka Revue administrators, so directors, scriptwriters, composers, in their vast majority male, reveal in front of the predominantly female audiences the struggles of men, contemporary or not, their need to be understood, appreciated, and admired, and above all, their need to be loved and accepted for who they truly are. It is a huge gesture of vulnerability, which unfortunately went spectacularly unnoticed. So, as a side note, as the pre-war blockbuster Mon Paris had determined, the Parimono genre included those performances staged by Takarazuka Revue with Paris-related content since 1927, when the world premiere of Mon Paris had taken place, which made history as Japan's first revue patterned upon Western, that is French models. So Parimono performances make out approximately one-third, so roughly 35% of yearly performances within the Takarazuka Revue entertainment conglomerate. The third point is the relationship between star troupe and Napoleon as otokoyaku, as embodied by a top star otokoyaku. Star troupe, or hoshigumi, is the last one of the old ensembles. It was grounded in 1933, the same year as the original Tokyo Takarazuka Revue, the Tokyo Takarazuka Theatre in Hibiya was opened. So Flower and Moon troops, Hanna Gumi respectively Tsukigumi, had been, as mentioned previously, both grounded in 1921, and Snow Troupe Yukigumi had been founded in 1924, the same year as the first Takarazuka Grand Theatre in the city of Takarazuka had been opened. The fifth troupe, Sky Troupe or Soragumi or Cosmos Troupe, was created in 1998. It is said that, like Flower Troupe, the Star Troupe delivers strong otokoyaku performers such as Wataru Kozuki between 2003 and 2006 and Reon Yuzuki between 2009 and 2015 in message-strong performances. One such performance was A Song for Kingdoms from 2003, based on the opera Aida from 1871, composed by Giuseppe Verdi on a libretto by Antonio Ghislanzoni, and Napoleon, The Man Who Never Sleeps. However, just as a side note, when A Song for Kingdoms was restaged in 2015 by Cosmos Troupe, its message changed radically from the imperative perspective to keep and protect the peace in the name of human love and life, as it had been originally in 2003, to the open acknowledgement that war might be at times necessary for restoring peace. Fourthly, I'll delve into the relationship between Yuzuki Reon as top star otokoyaku and Napoleon as historical figure to be represented on stage. Yuzuki Reon was one of the cult otokoyakus of the last decade, with powerful stage presence and long-lasting impact of the creation and recreation of masculinity on stage, and ultimately off stage. So Yuzuki Reon had joined the Takarazuka Revue company in April 1999 after graduating from Takarazuka Music School in March the same year, and was a top star otaku from 2009 until 2015 when she retired. Versatile voice with ample impetus and exact dance technique with clear movements, she delivered otaku characters who stand out as firm, decisive, to a certain degree ruthless, but also struggling to hide their sensitive side. In Napoleon's character, Yuzuki Reon builds in various aspects of what might be labeled progressive masculinity or enlightened masculinity, which combines the classical features of hard work and persistence with current requirements such as vulnerability, emotional openness, and mental toughness. Next, I'm going to refer to the stress ratio between typical classical masculinity and Napoleon as staged by Takarazuka Revue. Napoleon, as staged by Yuzuki Reon within the Takarazuka Revue conglomerate, combines in his synthetic personality the classic characteristics to provide, protect, procreate, which result in the two dimensions to overcome challenges and achieve punctual results. On the other hand, Yuzuki Reon's Napoleon transcends that very classic masculinity by instilling elements of emotional creativity and mental strength, as well as warmth and patience, which constitute the foundation of a model of masculinity more attuned to the requirements of late modernity. The following 2 points I refer to two characteristics which reside in Napoleon's character as performed by Yuzuki Reon. First of them is ruthlessness and ambition. Paired with loneliness, it provides the main impetus in constructing the classic sense of masculinity. By extension, it delivers the major catalyst behind modern concepts of progress and innovation, which have been driving or pushing the development of history for at least the past 2.5 centuries, since the Industrial Revolution in Great Britain by mid-18th century. Furthermore, loneliness appears as the necessary counterforce to ruthlessness or ambition. As long as the span of the human life was on average under 30 years, the real effects of the individual of the various processes of repression and suppression, as well as sublimation, did not show up, albeit in exceptional cases, such as artists, poets, writers, composers, sculptors, painters, etc., and thinkers or philosophers. As soon as the average individual lifespan extended beyond 40 years due to medical developments and improved health care, those effects started to affect increasing portions of the population, most obviously in first world countries. Loneliness is rampant among male citizens, with over 80% of suicides occurring among male whites in Western societies and among men in Japan, in case of both demographics, age 1949. By highlighting Napoleon's loneliness in the last part of the performance, this is an important warning signal on the real issues faced by men worldwide, Japan included. And last but not least, it is very important to highlight the relationship to femininity, Napoleon's relationship to femininity. This follows, generally speaking, the patterns of relating associated with classic masculinity, also labeled toxic masculinity. Napoleon pursues and conquers Josephine, who is initially not at all suited to be his girlfriend or even his wife, and pushes towards a reunion despite all resistance coming from those around him, Josephine herself included. Napoleon is dominant and passionate, but also impassioned and jealous when, unfortunately true, rumors of Josephine's infidelity reach him. In the course of the performance, Napoleon develops the mental emotional maturity to accept Josephine and her unique femininity, therefore opening the gates for her to accept and love him for who he genuinely is. In this performative reconstruction of Napoleon as a man and as a historical figure, he turns from the Nietzschean Übermensch into a deeply flawed human being, with longings and failures, with misunderstandings and defects, but also with brief moments of joy and excitement. In doing so, the Takarazuka Revue administrators deconstruct the historical I into a broader conceptualization of human essence as a juxtaposition of positive and negative elements, both individually and collectively. I'm very curious now to hear your ideas, to read them, and eventually to react to them. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I'm looking forward to welcoming you very soon again. Love and peace to you all.